What's happening, Fight Week Show fans, Fight Week Show people? We are back, and look who we got here. We got Denis, the Menace Frimpong, man. How you doing, my brother?
I'm not too bad, mate. How are you today?
I'm feeling all the energy, man. I'm buzzing today. It's a big sports day today as well, and having you on a day like today, it's big for us, man. It's big for us, and thank you for gracing us with your presence, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely no worries, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No, man, brilliant. And right off the back, I want to thank Ben for putting this together, man, and Sid Mogul Management. Big up to them. Salute to those guys, man. You know what I mean? They reached out to us, and that's the reason why this interview is taking place right now. So I just want to say thank you to those guys. Denis, you've had an incredible run in the amateur, your amateur run, and we've seen some of the exciting fights that you've put up, in recent times. One of them being the fight against Chris Morris. I went back and watched that fight. I was buzzing. I was just buzzing watching you and the way, how much that win meant to you and the way you finished it. What was that like? Fighting for that amateur light welterweight title and winning the title in such a spectacular fashion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just sort of solidifying. Like the belt didn't mean anything in itself. It was more so solidifying to everyone else what I already knew. Like I'd known from my debut that I was at that level. Like it was a fight I'd been looking for a while. When I think 2 fights in, I was already looking for that fight. So it was just a accumulation of all the hard work that I'd done over the last year since starting MMA, and it just kind of came together with that. But the feeling was good. Getting a knockout, I to be honest, I expected a submission. I thought I was going to hit him hard and he was going to shoot, and I'd maybe catch him in a sub. But I was happy with the way it played out. It was good to get my first knockout and finally experience that, because it's a very different experience at the end of a fight when you knock someone out and when you get a submission or win by decision.
Serious. You with Manchester top team, and you've got extensive background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like you was just mentioning just now, in terms of what you was expecting in the finish, and then the knockout came. And when they come along like that, you take them all day long, wouldn't you? But tell us more about like your background. And you mentioned what you already knew, but a lot of us didn't really know that. You're just showcasing it to us right now, and it's unfolding in front of people's eyes. But what really brought you into this game? What made you wanted to start doing this sport like this?
So with martial arts, man, it's a long and weird history, right, with me. So I've always been into sports. I've always been a sports person. But I grew up in the Irish countryside, little town called Cavan. It's like on the border with Northern Ireland, right? And even to this day, there's like no martial arts out there. Like it's Gaelic football. If you don't know what Gaelic football is, it's like an Irish sport that they play. It's sort of like a mix between rugby and soccer. Right. So it's that, or like rugby or boxing, So there wasn't really like an MMA scene, but I followed MMA. It was kind of like an underground, like back then, it was like, it'd be like new metal, like you'd hear like Linkin Park and like MMA, you know what I mean, and it was like the Just Bleed guy and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't really mainstream back then, and I never really thought it was like something that existed in Ireland anyway, So I was a runner, track and field, was quite quite successful in that. Competed at quite a decent level on the regional scene, and like even internationally a little bit. Went to university through a scholarship that I got in track and field, and then ended up getting a bad injury, and kind of went into a bit of like what I would say was like a bit of a bout with some depression, like sort of injury-based depression, because what I loved to do, I couldn't do. Kind of lost the love for it as well. Didn't really enjoy going to training anymore, even when I did come back. started partying a lot, started like really just like, I wasn't depressed as in like sitting alone at home, but I was depressed in a different way where I couldn't be alone. I always had to be out and about and like at a next motive or a party or whatnot. I had to be around people and be drinking or whatnot. And then just through that, I ended up getting bored of that and seeing that it wasn't leading me down a right way, and it wasn't leading me to what I wanted to achieve in my life. So I started doing Muay Thai with Collie Mahan and Craig Coakley and the guys. What became Dublin Combat Academy, but at the time was called Lionheart Muay Thai. But obviously that's the same guys that now run Dublin Combat Academy. So I started in there and just fell in love with it. Found jiu-jitsu and then really fell in love with that, and like just went all the way down the road with jiu-jitsu. Slowly but surely then, like, obviously through that time then Conor McGregor's won the world title. Irish MMA started exploding. So I started thinking, maybe I'll progress into MMA. COVID happened and it kind of forced me into MMA in a way because I couldn't do any jiu-jitsu. None of the jiu-jitsu gyms were open. So I started training, like cross-training with a lot of MMA guys, getting into doing MMA then, and met Shem through that time as well. And yeah, everything just sort of came together. It's a long, like I say, everyone has their own journey in this game, there's more than one route to the top of the mountain. Not every route is the same. So I'm not like one of these guys who can say, I've been doing it since I'm a kid and all that, but I still feel like I'm competing with these guys, you know what I mean, after only doing it for a few years. So like I'm ever growing, and I feel like I'll keep evolving and keep getting to further and further heights.
Sky's the limit for you, man. Sky's the limit. Now you're about to get your pro debut, but there's been a little bit of a delay in you getting to making that pro debut. Can you elaborate on why that is and how that's come about, and what is the title that we're looking at now?
Yeah, it was a bit of an annoying circumstance. I was in the back of an Uber and basically was involved in a car accident. Got smashed into the back of. Had a bit of whiplash in my neck and had some like inflammation in the muscles around my lower back. And was basically told by the doctor that I can't grapple for 6 to 8 weeks. That was about 3 weeks ago. So it just, the fact that I was fighting a grappler in the fight and stuff like that is like, I can't not grapple, and then I can't fight as well, you know what I mean, and risk getting injured, and it prolonging even worse, that kind of way. So we're looking at getting back in the gym, hopefully when the new year comes around properly. And getting back into a bit of grappling and stuff like that, and moving around, and hopefully be in a camp then for February, or at least like maybe end of February, start of March, we'll see. But yeah, looking at that sort of a time scale there.
Yeah, man. We're wishing you a speedy recovery, and hopefully, by the time you're ready to get back into camp, everything just falls into place for you in terms of getting ready for the opponent that they put in front of you. What I wanted to ask you is, now going through this injury process that you're going through, a lot of amateurs that are just going into pro, they some of them have like full-time jobs and still having to support putting time into the gym, putting time into practice. What's it been like having the management that you've got with you, and if there's advice that you want to give to the young ones coming up, and how to go about choosing the right people for them to help them in situations like what you're in now, because times are hard nowadays. Times are hard.
Yeah, mate, 100%. And what I'll say is that, like, from the time I started, I always had a full-time job. It wasn't until like the very, like, the whole way from when I was training jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and all that, and competing in jiu-jitsu a lot. Even like my first few amateur fights, I was working a full-time job, 9 to 5, getting up at 5 in the morning, mate. You know what I mean? To get into the gym before work, do a session, go to work, finish up, go to another session, maybe 2 sessions, and then get home for like 10 or 11, not get into bed till about 12, and then up at 5 again. So it was grind, like, you know, it was grind until I was able to actually reap the benefits and able to go, right, I'm at a stage now where I think I can just pursue this full time. I'm at a stage now where I have the skill set that I can do like one-to-ones with people to make a bit of cash. I can teach classes here and there and stuff like that. But at the start, it is just going to be graft. You know what I mean? Unless you come from money and or you have like some kind of money behind you. It's tough, you know what I mean? Like even now, for me, it's tough. I'm not exactly like living stylish or anything like that. You know, I'm sort of living month to month and sometimes PT to PT, and that's just the way it is, you know. But that's just the way it is in this sport. At the end of the day, until you start really getting like the big leagues and stuff like that, and getting the big bucks, you're probably going to be broke, and you have to really enjoy it. Like if you don't enjoy it and you're just doing something you don't enjoy for no money, it's not a good place to be in, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I really do just enjoy this game. I enjoy the fact that I get to like pursue fighting as a career, mate. Like I get to punch people around in the cage, you know.
and you're damn good at it. You're damn good at it, and that's what makes it worth, you know, going through that grind for you. And thank you for that advice for our audience and the young ones, you know, that are looking to take, you know, following your footstep, if you like. I wanted to come up to your trajectory and where say by the end of 2023, what can we expect from Denis the Menace? What can we expect from you?
I want to be probably 4 or 5-0 by the end of next year.
Wow.
I want to have another active year. I had 5 fights this year. I was supposed to have 6. Obviously, the 6th one got delayed. I had to pull out. But yeah, I'm looking to have at least 4 to 5 fights next year. Because I feel like with the 4-ounce gloves as well, and with 5-minute rounds, I'll have a lot of first round finishes. I don't feel like people will be able to swim into deep waters with me, you know. The difference between a 9-minute fight, like a 3 threes, is so different between 3 5s. Like that's 6 extra minutes in there. That's 2 extra rounds, you know what I mean, that you're in there for. There's been a few times where I've either hit people with shots with the 6-ounce gloves and gone, ooh, if that was a 4-ounce glove, you probably would have gone to sleep. And there's also been times where, you know, I finished on a guy's back at the end of a round, and then the buzzer's gone, and I'm like, literally, oh mate, I just needed another 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute to work there, and I was finishing that fight. So yeah, I think there'll be a lot more first round finishes. So I'll try and be as active as possible. I'm not looking to, you know, do two fights a year kind of thing. I'm looking to go just burn through the first few guys, and then start looking at picking off higher level guys. Then, you know what I mean, some big names that I've been looking at on the scene, especially at my weight division, in the region, you know what I mean. And obviously I wasn't going to start calling out these guys when I was an amateur, but now I'm in the game, now I'm in the pool. So anyone who wants it can come get it.
See.
I believe I beat anyone in this regional scene at that weight that I would fight. So
I'm looking forward to 2023 already, man. I'm salivating at the fact that we can see you out there in the octagon, you know, on the pro scene, and just doing what you do best. Incredible. You know, well, we've noticed you for a while. We've been following you for a while, and following your you know, your work. And we also see that you've trained with some notable people. Kane Mensah being one of them. We're a big fan of him. He fights in Bellator. Even Paddy the Baddy. We see you posted a picture with him on your Instagram. What's it like being in there with these big names and people that's been in the game, that's already on the upper echelon of promotions, if you like? What's that like? What inspiration does that give you to want to aspire to what they're doing and where they're at?
Honestly, mate, everyone I come into contact with inspires me in a different way. And it's not just like, obviously, like, Kane inspires me in some ways because I think he's just got a good business mind about him as well. He's a dog, like, he comes out there to fight. I think that, like, that's admirable in its own thing. But it's also like the guys that I train with on a daily basis, that it's it's the amateur guy that's like just had 3 losses in a row, that's still showing up to the gym, that's still coming in grinding, that like he's a killer in the gym, or maybe just can't put it together, and then maybe he hits a point where he just finds that link and then goes on a run, and now he's winning belts, now he's going pro. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I was like that at one point, you know what I mean? I was 2-2 at one point in my career. I'd only fought like tough guys, you know what I mean? And I'd had 2 decision losses, but people still look at your record as 2-2. So they think like, well, you have the same amount of losses as wins. And then I found my stride and started to go on a bit more of a tear. Got my experience, you know what I mean? Learned from my losses. So it's those people that give me the most inspiration, to be honest. In terms of training with the higher level guys, like, all it does is solidify what I already know, is that like I belong in there with those guys. You know, there's these guys on the regional scene, like with 5 fights or less, like they're not on my level. Like it's going to be too easy for those fights. Like I'm going to make it look easy. Guys, the only guys that really like are giving me big problems in the gym are guys that are training like that are training like they're professional, that are living the lifestyle. You know what I mean? That are like at that high level of technique, of skill, of athleticism. You know. So it just fills me with confidence when I get out into the cage and I'm fighting another guy that's 0-0 like me, and I'm like, you're not like, you know, there's 0-0 and then there's 0-0. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, for real. You, I see you on the internet, man, and a lot of people dub you as the black belt in memes. I mean, some of the memes you put out, bro, they're wild.
Yeah, it's got me in trouble with Instagram a little bit. I won't lie, like it put me in Instagram jail and that.
I mean, do you think you can go toe to toe with someone like, say, Darren Till, like, because he was mad on the internet as well, you know what I mean? Only recently, but like he just calmed down a little bit, but he was mad. Do you think you can go toe to toe when it comes to this meme?
You know what it is, mate. I think I can go toe to toe with anyone on a verbal. I just think that the likes of like Darren Till, Paddy, Pimblett, like Scousers in general, mate, they're just good at shit talk. They're like Irish people, you know what I mean? They're good at shit talk. But I think anyone outside of that, mate, like any of these American guys getting a press conference with me, bro, they're getting ruined. Like I'll get so far into their head, like, you know, I think like you see it, like look, like I think even on that press conference last night with Paddy, on the UFC press conference, in it, he was like he had Ilya Tapura standing up and walking across and all this kind of stuff. That's what I mean. Like you know, these Americans and Brazilian guys, they get so emotional and they start reacting, and at that stage, I know I'm in your head. Do you know what I mean? If you start doing that, like I know I'm in your head. Now I'm like, okay, I'm expecting like a big start from you in the fight. That first like 30 seconds of the fight, you're gonna come out big. You're gonna be swinging, looking to do crazy stuff. You know, so it's all mind games. You know, it's the art of war. I think that all is fair in love and war. So. Like people say I go a bit too far with some of the memes and with some of the shit talk, but I'm like, look, at the end of the day, like he's going to get in the cage, he's going to try and knee me in the face, he's going to try and cut my face open, he's going to try and put me unconscious in front of my friends. Do you know what I mean? I would say that's going too far in most normal situations. Do you know what I mean? So whatever happens before that, you know, we'll settle in the cage and then we'll shake hands after the fight.
100%. How important do you see social media and keeping in touch with like your supporters, your fans, people that actually fuck with you at this point in your career and moving forward? How important is that to you?
Yeah, so obviously the fans are like the main thing, aren't they? Like, you know, without the fans, we're just a load of guys fighting in a cage. So yeah, they it's, you know, it's the asses and seats that put the money in our pockets for our purses. So at the end of the day, we do have to acknowledge that, you know. I think there's a lot of guys out there that are really good fighters, but they're not good at promoting themselves. So they just end up getting overlooked. And there's guys that aren't that great fighters that are smashing it because they are who they are and they're a good personality. It's the entertainment business at the end of the day, you know.
100%.
And I believe that, like, that's not only entertaining with the shit talk and all that, all the outside antics and your personality. I think in the cage you should be entertaining also. Like, anyone wants to go watch any of my fights, I've never been in a boring fight. Like, I've never been in a fight where you could sit back and go, oh, there's nothing happening. You know, it's action packed.
I can vouch for that.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, like it's. I think that's a big part of it. Like that, I think that's why I've had like a bit of a rise over the last year, is because I'm excited to watch people. I like watching that, and they like watching the antics and the personality and the shit talk and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant to watch. People that have not seen it, please, I implore you, jump on YouTube. Just type in his name. Denis the Menace Frimpong. Just type in his name and you see some of the fights there. Incredible fights, incredible performances that he puts on. And like you said, never in a boring fight. And for us fight fans, I'm just an armchair fan. I don't get into no octagon with killers like yourselves. But I love to observe from a distance, because I see how savage human can get when it's go time, and it's what we love to see as fight fans. I got a couple fan questions for you, because we're moving into that time zone right now. Dan Potts, big up to Dan Potts, is chucked in this question, and he says to you, are you any relation to Lethal Bizzle and Emmanuel Frimpong from Arsenal? And and have you performed before on a big stage with them, or have you done any kind of performances? Thank you to Dan Potts for asking that question. Thank you.
Shout out for that question. Yeah. No, I don't believe I am any relation of Emmanuel Frimpong. Where did he go, mate? He retired too young, that guy. You know, he had so much potential. Shout out Emmanuel Frimpong. Yeah, shout out Lethal Bizzle as well. I think they're related. Who knows? Maybe distantly we are related. You know what I mean? I think we could be, but yeah, they're definitely my tribes people. Anyway, we're all Ashanti, so that would be that'd be our relation in that sense. But yeah, shout out Lethal B and shout out Emmanuel Frimpong for that banger from way back. Those you either remember, you remember.
For real. Yeah, man. Big up Dan Pot for that one there. It's from Carl Rossi. And he says, are there any rule changes you'd make in MMA, if there is any that you like or you don't like? Well, what rules, what part of MMA would you change if you had the power for one to just change something?
If it was up to me and I was the MMA gods, right, I'd bring back no gloves.
No gloves. Ooh.
I'd bring back no gloves, no wraps. I'd make it unlimited. Not no rounds, so it's just a 15-minute fight. There's no like 5 minutes you have a break, 5 minutes you have a break. It's 15 minutes one round, or 25 minutes one round, whatever happens to be, if it's a title fight.
Wow.
I would bring back soccer kicks, knees to the head, and 12 to 6 elbows. And you know what? You'd be surprised. It looks more violent without the gloves and stuff like that. But you back in the day when MMA started, there was way less knockouts and there was way more wrestling and submissions, because the gloves don't really suit grapplers. People grab the inside of the glove and stuff like that to defend chokes and whatnot. And if you don't have wraps and gloves on, you can't really punch with full force on someone's head, because someone can just dip their head a bit and you catch the top of their head, your hand's broken. Do you know what I mean? Also, I think like the lack of rounds suits jiu-jitsu guys a little bit more as well. So yeah, those are the changes I'd make.
That's crazy. You kill me, Dennis. I swear to God, that's sucker kick to the head. Headshot, dead.
Yeah, just bring back Pride rules with no gloves, mate. Pride rules, no gloves.
Fucking hell, man. Well, there you go, Carl Rossi. You got your answer right there. Big up to Carl Rossi for that question, man. That's fucking wild, I'll tell you. I've got a couple more questions before we get you out of here, man. Can you describe to us what you mean by controlled chaos? Because we've heard that word from you, and you know, people that see your fight would understand a little bit what you mean. But can you explain to the people what you really mean by and how you implement it in your fight?
So I'm a big believer in like ancient Eastern philosophy, Miyamoto Musashi, Sun Tzu, and it's basically the idea that you create chaos and then seize opportunity out of that chaos.
Right.
Um, so what I like to do is I like to like make it a fight for a while, get them riled up, get them into a fight, and then find openings based on that.
Got you.
With the use of clever feints, with the use of like timing, especially when it comes to the ground game, it's like not scrambling all the time. It's scrambling in a controlled manner, and creating that chaos and finding submissions from that. Um, but yeah, that's a really good
Yeah,
question. That
yeah, man, and that puts you ahead in a fight sequence. It puts you a few steps ahead as well because you're creating the chaos, and they just in the chaos like a carrier bag in the wind.
yeah,
If you can
exactly,
imagine.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, man, wicked, wicked, wicked. The last thing that we got to talk about, we can't get you out of here without talking about Ghana and Uruguay in the World Cup.
Oh,
I know that hurts, but what's I mean, I was watching that game and I was following your story as well in that game on that day.
listen, right. All I'm happy about is that they went home too. At least we went home, yeah, but they had to also go home, so it's fine. You know what I mean? And anyway, right, like my grandmother is actually Croatian. So
Big up,
big up
big up.
Croatia. They're carrying
Croatia.
me through this World Cup, mate. Beating Brazil, I'm like, yeah, calm. I'm all for Croatia now. Croatia win the World Cup. I'm floating. Do you know what I mean?
Big up to them. Did you enjoy watching Suarez crying?
Oh, mate. Do you
Did
know
you
what?
love?
Like, I would have loved to have just collected his tears. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a souvenir, Suarez tears.
Oh God! I mean, it was incredible to see, and there's just hopefully, if Ghana qualifies into the World Cup next time, they don't draw Uruguay, they don't get a penalty against Uruguay because,
Yeah,
I mean, you lot are cursed when it comes to penalties against
man,
Uruguay, but it's
man.
crazy.
They were doing some South American juju, bro. Yeah. You know about that one there, like.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. So, if we were to ask you who would you want to win the World Cup, is Croatia now? Croatia all the way for you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Like if Croatia win, I'll be happy. I'm not really asked about anyone else. Obviously, I live in England now, so as an Irishman, I can't really be happy if England win the World Cup. But
Yeah,
I'll enjoy everyone else being happy and
yeah, yeah.
celebrating. So
But yeah, let's do it for grandma, man. You know what I mean? Let's do it for grandma Croatia, man. Let's go with
yeah, mate.
Croatia.
I want Croatia, England in the final, and then Croatia smoke them. All the
Oh,
better, because then I'll have bragging rights.
there you go. There you go. Hey, people, we've come to the end of the show. It's been a brilliant one with Denis the Menace Frimpong. He's giving us his time. Thank you so much for the time that you're giving us. Thank you to Ben for putting this together. Seed Mogul Management. Is there anybody that you know that you would your sponsors, your gym, your coaches
Yeah,
that you wanted to shout out on the
yeah.
channel?
So
You have the
obviously,
floor.
shout out, like you say, Sid and Ben from Sid Mogul Management, for sorting the interview out. Like to shout out Yannick Biggie Nutrition. My nutritionist always keeping me, even now when I'm not training and stuff like that, just keeping my nutrition right, that I'm not like getting too heavy so I can get ready to jump back in a camp. Everyone at Manchester Top Team, obviously all my training partners, my coaches, for supporting me through this tough time. I'd like to give a shout out as well to Pound for Pound store, who've been sorting out all my gear and stuff like that, any equipment that I need. Give them a shout. They're just coming out with their own new branded stuff now: shin guards, gloves, MMA gloves, that kind of stuff. Any of your MMA needs. But yeah,
Yeah, man, fantastic. And yeah, we're looking forward to a big 2023 for you. We can't wait to see you get back in there. We're wishing you speedy recovery, on your injury and and your preparation, going into the pro scene. And we just want to see you, do what you do best. We're gonna keep supporting you. We're gonna keep, posting your stuff and keep getting you out there. And hopefully down the line we can bring you back. Maybe watch a fight together. Maybe talk about other people's cards and do some more content together if that's all right with you.
Yeah, mate, 100%. Thanks a million for you having me on as well, and giving me your time as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Hey, people,
Cheers,
we are at the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us, and up onto the next video. Hasta la vista, people. We're out.
Hey guys, this is John Anik from the UFC. You're watching the Fight Week Show. Please subscribe, not now, but right now. Subscribe to the Fight Week Show. We'll see you guys on the road soon.